Paintball nerd.
Today's guest on Paintball Nerd started playing paintball in 2004. He turned pro in 2018 with DMG. He's also played with Aftermath and the Ironmen, and he's got a new squad. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Mr. Thomas Kim.
Hey,
up,
thanks for
Thomas?
having me.
Yeah,
How you
man.
doing?
Good. I'm excited for you.
Me too. It's gonna be fun.
Dude, the return of Aftershock, right? It's a monumental team. It's a monumental thing in paintball that's happening. How do you feel being part of it?
Obviously it's exciting, but I think the underlying root there is more so humbling.
Hmm.
Being on a team that went pro with DMG, helping them lead them to the pro scene is something not a lot of people get to do. I feel like most people kind of get picked up in the pro, so that was a cool thing to be a part of. But then going to the Ironmen, which is another, extremely legendary OG franchise, is kind of a similar concept right now with going to Aftershock, another similar OG legendary franchise, both, pretty much around from the beginning. So there's a lot of similarities there, but it's also a really just cool thing to be a part of. It's an opportunity I wasn't really anticipating until kind of last week when I got that call, and I really didn't have any plans to come back. So once it all kind of just started getting rolling, it was something I got really excited for, and I definitely missed the game. So it's an opportunity I couldn't really pass up.
So Thomas, how did it go down? Because you took 2023 off, right?
Yeah, I took pretty much pulled the Brett Favre, I guess. I really didn't have any plans to come back to paintball. That's when I made my announcement that I was going to retire. I really wasn't quite sure what the future held for me and paintball wise. I'm getting into aviation, took 23 off to pursue, a career in aviation, something that'll sustain my life going forward, and, be able to support those around me, and, kind of just prosper outside of paintball. That was a big thing that Makin also was very honest about with paintball. As I was always trying to get a paycheck and all in on paintball kind of thing, to I was trying to make a living off that. And Mike Hinman was one of the first people to be like, you're not going to be able to get a retirement settled, unless you come from family money. You got a family member that's like a real estate agent or was already in the millions of dollars. You're not going to be able to really live off of paintball. So I took 23 off, and with aviation, I didn't really know entirely what I was getting into scheduling wise and everything like that. And this situation just kind of happened to work out to where I'll should graduate, finish up my aviation licenses by roughly the beginning of summer, plus or minus a month or so. And then after that, you pursue a job. So scheduling wise, it looks like it'll line up to where I should be free for a majority of the year, to put time off and be able to make these events, and also the opportunity of what Todd and Aftershock are building, kind of outweighed the effort I need to put forward to make time off and put the requests in, and, talk to the management and make sure that they understand that, like, this is something I want to do. I think the weight of what they're doing, who we're grabbing, and everything aligning the way it is, it's something that, I would look back when I'm old and regret not doing. So something I had to figure out how to make it work. And, Todd hit me up about a week ago, and Todd Fashion sent me a little gift thing, and I was like, oh, I know what this means. And then some of the guys called me and got it rolling.
It's so A-Rod's been announced. At the time this interview is going to be released, LJ would have been announced, Corey Hall, and those three dudes, you've won with them, right? In Vegas 2020. So
yeah, it was awesome.
So is that part of the factor of getting you to come back?
100%. I think if it wasn't them, it wasn't Todd Martinez and Todd Addison at the helm. If it wasn't all of these things lining up, I wouldn't be coming back. I had
Mm,
some teams reach out the year I retired, and then this last couple of months, I've had a handful of teams reach out and kind of show interest and get the ball rolling on thinking about trying to make a move to get me. But I kind of told all them like aviation's my priority. No disrespect to any of those teams, but it was something that like I said, I wasn't planning on doing. So it was kind of like if things work out perfectly, I'd be willing to make it work. But I really didn't have any plans to make the first event until I was really done with aviation kind of thing. And now it's pushing into the second event too. So being that it is, the boys from 2020, a roster that I fully believe in, some of my best friends for sure. And then you got Cash Money leading the helm.
mm.
Um, like I said, something I couldn't not be a part of. So it was really a stars aligning thing to where I was like, okay, if this is actually going to happen, then, I got to be there. So uh, it's something that's a little, uh, it's something that we missed out on, right, with COVID and all that happening. The whole A-Rod left during the year. I couldn't play the last event in 2020 World Cup. Had a bunch of responsibilities I had to handle. We all kind of feel like we didn't really get our shot to see what the team could do in the longevity wise. So I think that fuels the fire for everyone as well, for focus and mentality going in. And for Adamson, it allows him to skip a couple years. I feel like, instead of trying to develop a core of guys that, need to learn how to win or have one or whatnot, you already have a group of guys that are, you know, great friends on the field, great friends off the field, communicate well on the field, communicate well off the field. That the core and everything that you kind of need going forward to win is already established. So something I'd regret not being a part of. So kind of had to make it work.
How do you feel as a player? You feeling rusty at all taking the time off?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a little bit of rust. I haven't played in a little bit of time, and it's everyone says it's like riding a bike, and it definitely is. I went down for the Trouts last weekend, and it was I obviously didn't play to my standard, but as the weekend went on, I definitely felt the flow come back a little bit, where you know might not be as crisp on things, but the mentality and understanding the moves is always going to be there, right? The paintball IQ that you develop really doesn't go away. That's why a lot of players go into coaching and whatnot. But to be, 10 out of 10 crisp wise for, sliding, hip sliding, timing, obviously fundamental snapshots, laning, all that kind of thing, each has their own weight of how much rust gets applied to each. Some are, a little bit more rusty, some aren't as rusty. But I definitely felt the rust come off pretty quick. And the big thing for me was I was in the taking a year off and not beating up your body a little bit. I was in the best shape of my life last summer. And then this winter I started doing a little bulk. So they called me and I was like, oh, all right, I gotta start cutting again. we gotta get in paintball shape, so that's something that I making sure, you can play every point, yell. And that's the big thing people don't realize is um yeah, you got to be physical and have endurance, but when you're yelling and you're not controlling your breathing while you're playing paintball and you're constantly in an athletic position, people
Mhm.
that don't do it at the highest level don't realize what it takes
Yeah.
physically, and then that, you physically drain, that drains on you mentally, like that. So that'll probably be one of the things that's a variable that's once that gets, you know, fine tuned into 10 out of 10 level of expectation for myself, everything else will just kind of fall in line.
Yeah. And it's hard to condition for paintball outside of the paintball field. There's some people that try and do it in the gym, but the best conditioning is to actually play the game?
Yeah, definitely. Especially when you're looking at like what it takes to win a tournament. You if you're on the starting five and you have a lineup that's not 10, 12 dudes deep that you're rotating lines and you're constantly playing, you know, to fight you gotta practice fighting kind of mindset. So there are things you can do. Like I know there's a lot of guys that are big proponents like saunas and stuff like that, and maybe doing some working out, some stretching in the sun, and keep your heart rate up and your breathing. Focus on your breathing. You can do like high intensity training, stuff like that. But like you're saying, there's nothing that it's kind of like skiing and snowboarding. When you don't use those muscles,
Mm.
your body's not used to it. So when you're doing the paintball moves that you need to be doing, sliding and whatnot, so a part of that for me was like after this weekend, my elbow was like not used to sliding, Superman diving. I looked at my elbow and it's just all bruised up. Body's like, what are you doing to me? But getting a little older, not crazy old yet, but so I got nowhere to complain. But
You got time.
definitely gonna be yeah. We got, I think it's like 28 days now until first weekend practice. That's not layout specific, so got a good amount of time to get ready and get where I need to be for the guys and Todd and or both Todds and um, you know bring my game back to the level that I expect it to be at.
So, without spoilers, right? Because the whole roster hasn't been announced yet. What would you say about the squad that Todd Adamson has assembled?
Um, I think there's going to be high expectations. I think that'll be from within the camp and out, obviously outside the camp. I think it's a big storyline. Everyone's starting to get wind of what's going on over the last week or so. And that's kind of what everyone's talking about, right? 2020 Ironmen. They won the last event. We were all together. We won. Um, I think people are going to kind of see, expect a good showing. Um, I think what Todd Adamson's doing is like I said, it'll allow him to skip steps, but also with that, like I said, the expectations will be high.
Mm.
So I think it really boils down to the fine minute variables that we can all do um, to get ourselves caught up to speed, right? We've all pretty much, or me and A-Rod haven't been playing a lot of paintball, but everyone else has. So the big thing is making sure the chemistry is at top notch. I think everything else will fall into place, but um, making sure we're properly doing everything on the field and off the field, I think will be the big thing going forward um, for the entire roster, right? And then integrating, you know, everyone else that are, will be released soon, all those guys into, the game plan of what we're doing. Again, everyone on the same mindset going forward is going to be, very important for the success of what we're trying to do here for the long run.
So, what would you say is your expectation for Aftershock's performance in Vegas?
Expectation for the whole
Yeah.
team. I mean, obviously, the easy answer is, I think we can win for sure. I don't think there's a doubt that we can win. Um, I think the big thing is consistency. Uh, the league right now is extremely talented. There's high level players across the board on a lot of different teams. Some teams are fully developed high level players, right? So no disrespect to anyone out there. I think it's a um, understanding of the game as a whole for Aftershock is a bunch of high level players as well that have the IQ to make a run on Sunday, right? I think we obviously need to come at it one point at a time, one match at a time, and make sure we have that consistency going throughout the event. But I think as a whole, we all definitely have a understanding that we should go into Sunday and we should make a run. I don't see why we shouldn't. Um, I think it'll be the first event. Some people play off in the off season, some people don't. So it's kind of the best opportunity for every team that has a new situation, or even teams that are established to kind of make a run that is uh, easier, I guess, to make than come Chicago or World Cup when everyone's dialed in, right? There's the variables of that first event are just kind of wider. So um, I think that bodes well for our team and what we can build together and the chemistry that we already have as a group. I saw a good amount of the guys there this last weekend, and it feels like it was 4 years ago where we didn't didn't miss a beat. You know, it feels like that we just time traveled back in time, and I was, you know, just hanging out with my friends again. So I think with the high expectations, I think we'll be able to rise definitely to the top.
So you feel like there's something to prove. I mean, because it's like you guys didn't really get a chance to finish out after Vegas 2020. You didn't get a chance to continue because A-Rod left. So it's like now that you guys are, you know, you, A-Rod, LJ, Corey are back together, it's like, let's show them that we can do it again.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. There's something to prove, and I think that um, as a competitor on from the outside looking in, other teams, I think obviously that puts a target on your back a little bit of like, what do these guys, who do these guys think they are? Obviously, they're not going to come in and beat us, right? Right now, everyone's got to slay the dragon, right? I think that's the
Yeah.
mindset everyone else has as us coming in. I think from a fan perspective, it's kind of what you're saying about, wow, this is a once in a life opportunity for these guys to come together again. Not a lot of people ever have the opportunity to play pro, but not a lot of people have the opportunity to rebuild a team that won an event, and I think that'll be a big storyline. So um, going forward, we definitely have something to prove, and I think we need to keep our standards high and prove to ourselves first, and that'll just build the longevity throughout the season and potentially into the future with a solid core group of guys.
Awesome. Well, Thomas, thank you so much for your time here. Is there anything that you'd like to part with for the paintball community?
Appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Definitely want to give a shout out to Todd Adamson. It's all this wouldn't be happening without him and his passion for paintball, and his family's passion for paintball, doing what they're doing, both European, WNXL, NXL, and then also investing in the youth. Definitely want to thank all my sponsors as well. The new sponsors we're having for this year. I think that those will be announced throughout the time next week or so, or they're already announced. I'm not entirely sure. I think that's important, and then obviously want to thank you for having me, Todd Martinez for dragging me out of retirement, and all the guys for also helping drag me out, and some of the other guys that will be announced soon. So appreciate you, and I'll be seeing you pretty soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you.